Today we're going to do a review of the just newly released Ruger American Compact Pistol. They released the Ruger American full-size pistol at the beginning of the year so they could participate in the military trials, and now they've come out with the civilian compact version that will be very suitable for concealed carry. The Ruger American Compact looks fairly similar to the SR9C. The only difference, or there are several differences, when I compare them in size, it appears that the Ruger American is slightly bigger, and later on we'll try to get a little bit better close-up to verify that. But the general features are very similar. The takedown lever on the American is very simple, and later on we'll show you the simplicity of the takedown, whereas on the Ruger SR9C it was a little bit more complicated. You had to actually push the lever out from the other side in order to take the gun apart. The Ruger American Compact comes both with and without a thumb safety. The one that we're going to be testing is without the thumb safety, but it is available in both features. Ruger claims that this gun has what's called a recoil reducing barrel cam. I don't know exactly what that means because, quite frankly, I can't tell the difference in much of the recoil between most of the guns, but I'm so used to shooting, I don't know that that's a significant issue. They also have a modular wraparound grip system that enables you to change the grip. And changing the grip is very beneficial because it allows you to adjust the length of pull. Now their system is pretty simple. It's not as easy as Smith & Wesson's, however, it's relatively simple. You just take the little multi-head, I guess it's like a hex key that comes with it. You insert it in the back of the grip into a little hole. You then rotate it counterclockwise till it clicks in place, and then you're able to actually take the grip off, and then you could replace it with a different size. And it comes with the medium on it, and you can adjust it either to the small or the large depending on your hand size. Putting it back on is fairly simple. You simply line up the grip back into the channel where it's supposed to go, and then you squeeze it into place, and then you take your cam key and simply rotate the key clockwise to get it back and set. I'm going to go ahead and shoot it with the larger cam because it fits my hand a little bit better. It has 3-dot sights. Obviously they're not night sights, but it's a 3-dot sight system. It also comes with an ambidextrous magazine release button. It's both on the left and on the right, and also an ambidextrous slide lock lever, which is fairly unique to some of the pistols that are currently on the market. So it would make it equally beneficial for both left and right-handers to shoot. It also comes with both a 12-round magazine with a pinky extension and a 17-round magazine, which has the adapter there so that it makes it comfortable when you put it into place. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to shoot the gun to see how it is, and we'll talk about some of the features after we're done shooting. Now, one of the things I noticed when I first started handling this gun, when it first came from the manufacturer, I noticed that for me, when I went to reach the trigger, just due to the way my finger presents onto the trigger, that there were times when I was unable to actually pull the trigger. In other words, the trigger safety that is internal on the trigger actually kind of went at a strange angle and it wouldn't engage. Like right now, as you can see, I'm pulling on the trigger, however, the trigger isn't activating. So I have to reposition my finger to make sure that I activate the safety lever in order for the gun to actually fire. Now, I think that is due mainly to the way my finger presents onto the trigger. However, it's a concern for me because the same thing happened with the Ruger American full-size pistol. Again, it depends on how you present your finger to the trigger. If I purposefully wrap my finger around and kind of change my natural finger presentation, it engages fine. But when I take my normal trigger configuration, the trigger, as you can see, is actually locked. It will not fire because of the way my finger is on the trigger. So that's something that would be a concern for me. But one other person so far that I've had try the gun didn't have that problem, and that was the same with the Ruger American full-size gun. However, there were some other people like me that had similar concerns. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change it onto the smaller grip swell to see if that makes a difference in the way my finger presents onto the trigger. Now again, I'm not totally experienced at changing the grip swells, but I can say that just based on changing the ones for the Smith & Wesson, these are not as easy, but they're not that difficult. I'm going to fire it now with the smaller grip swell to see if there's a difference in the way my finger presents onto the trigger. Also, this time I will use the extended magazine. The flush fitting magazine is 12 capacity. The extended magazine is 17 capacity. Right there, my first shot, there was no difference. I was unable to pull the trigger because I was unable to efficiently operate the trigger safety that's on the gun. So that is a concern of mine. As you can see by looking at the target, the gun is very accurate. No issues there. But I'm hoping that either with continued use in break-in period or just figuring out if in fact that's something that's unique to me and only a few other people, if that trigger issue is a concern. But it is something I am concerned about because where it hits my finger, I can tell that I have to let go and then reposition my finger in order to get the shot to go off. Since they make the claim at Ruger that it has a recoil-reducing barrel cam, I'm going to shoot the Ruger SR9C to see if I can tell much difference between the two. So I'm going to shoot the standard issue Ruger SR9C right now to see if there's any difference. Although they make the claim, quite frankly, I couldn't tell the difference between the two guns. The recoil felt almost identical to me. But then again, people that know the way we do the training here, we don't think recoil is much of an issue anyway, so it's more psychological than it is physical. So I don't know how much validity there is to that claim. I will say right there, you saw me fidgeting with the magazine release button. The magazine didn't come out right away. But again, that might be a break-in issue, but it's something. The reason I'm doing these videos and encouraging people to shoot the guns is because I want to get a safe over time assessment of the viability as a concealed carry gun. I think it's very good that we spend the time testing out guns before we run out and buy them and start carrying them to defend our lives so that we can work out any bugs that might be involved in the system. If Ruger or any of the other manufacturers for that matter didn't hear about things, they're going to like the input that we're able to provide them. I'm just going to test the magazine release lever again. And as you can see, I'm not having any problems, so that could have just been a hiccup on that one attempt to remove the magazine. I mentioned on the beginning that Ruger claims that it has an easy takedown, easier than some of the other guns, and I'm just going to demonstrate for you. It does not require that you pull the trigger. It's similar to many other guns in that all you have to do is really rotate the takedown lever 90 degrees from the 3 o'clock position to the 6 o'clock position, and then simply release the slide lock lever, and the slide pulls right off of the frame of the gun. So that's very simple, similar to a lot of the other guns that are currently on the market. Reassembly is equally simple. Simply reverse your process, put the barrel back inside the slide, put the spring in place, carefully line up the slide with the frame, lock it to the rear, and throw the takedown lever to its 3 o'clock position. And it looks like it is, in fact, pretty simple to actually take down for cleaning. Based on my short evaluation here and reading the literature, what Ruger has posted on the website, I think it's a good gun. I think that it will compete with some of the mid-size semi-automatics once it's well known and once people are familiar with it and all the people have shot it to determine if there's some issues. I think it's going to be a decent gun. As I mentioned before, I don't see, as far as major difference in the different grip swells, a huge difference between the medium and the large in my hand. I am concerned again, not only in this gun, but with the Ruger American full size, my inability to consistently get that trigger to pull based on the way my finger presents onto the trigger. And it strictly has to do, I think, with the way me and several other people, just the size of our hands and the way our hand goes. I want to show you now, just again, as I mentioned before, the difference in size is almost nominal between the SR9C and the Ruger American. Here you have the Ruger American, and that has the medium grip swell on it, and there you have the SR9C, which is very obviously a slight bit thinner. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's 1/8 of an inch, maybe it's 1/4 of an inch, but it's not much. It's not much. I couldn't really tell very much difference in the overall feel of the gun. I mentioned the issue about nominal difference in recoil. So I think the final word is still out on this gun. Since it is new, they just released it earlier this week. As if you know, Ruger has been very busy lately, and this is one of several of their most recent releases. But overall, I think time will tell if this is going to endure and become a popular concealed carry gun.